Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Monday to all of you ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much to all of you that joined in on yesterday's live stream. Well, today ladies and gentlemen, if you are a meat eater, I have news for you. If you are a non-meat eater, I have news for you as well. And if you like eggs, I have news for you as well. Very good news on eggs that has just come out. So hopefully after this video, you will be convinced that having some eggs of your own or having some egg-laying chickens of your own is a good idea. But let's start out with the price of beef. The price of beef only has one way to go, ladies and gentlemen, and that is up. Here it is being reported that U.S. beef cow herd falls to the lowest level since 1962. I remember talking about beef and the price of beef and all that kind of stuff last year and telling you all that beef is still going to be on the shelves, but that eventually the prices are going to have to go up because of all of the culling that took place last year. The freezers were full, and therefore the price of beef somewhat stabilized. However, those freezers are dwindling down, and now the market is going to realize that there is not as much beef on the hoof getting ready for processing than there was before, meaning what? The prices are getting ready to go back up. So if you are a beef eater, maybe you ought to go and stock up, put it in your freezer. I'm going to continue to freeze dry the beef that I buy for long-term storage. However, what you're doing by getting it now is insulating yourself against the prices going up drastically here, probably in the second half, if not sooner, of this year. The U.S. beef cow herd dropped to its lowest level since 1962. The USDA data showed on Tuesday after a severe drought raised costs for livestock feed. Remember those input costs that we've talked about in the past, ladies and gentlemen? Well, last year, a lot of cattle were culled, not because they wanted to get rid of them, but because they could not afford to feed them. Ranchers increasingly sent cows to slaughter last year instead of keeping them to reproduce, as dry weather reduced the amount of pasture available for grazing, in the western United States and on the plains. At the same time, a tight labor market limited slaughtering at meat packing plants. So pretty much what that said is that last year the ranchers didn't only get rid of their beef cattle, but they also got rid of the cattle that reproduce, all right, the heifers that actually made babies in order to turn into beef cattle. And this is not a switch on, switch off kind of a thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to take several years. It'll take 2 or more years before the market can spring back to where it was pre-levels of the farmers and ranchers having to cull their herds. Declining supplies of cattle are expected to keep meat prices high for consumers. We are going to be dealing with some sharp beef supply declines for the next 3 years. Oh, wow. Therefore, expect higher beef prices, and that just makes sense. They say here that there were 28.9 million beef cows as of January 1st, which is down 3.6% from a year earlier, according to the USDA. It was the smallest herd size in 61 years. Wow. Overall, the total number of cattle and calves across the country fell by 3% a year ago to 89 million, the lowest since 2015. Last year, nearly 13.4% of the cow herd was culled. That's incredible, ladies and gentlemen. 13.4%, and they say here that's a record. And people don't think that that's going to have an effect on the price of meat in general. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to have an effect of the price of meat and fish all the way across the board. Because if you rely on beef, let's say, for example, for a source of protein, and it comes to be that because of the price going up that you can no longer afford beef, then you're going to go ahead and substitute that protein intake with something else. It could be with anything. It could be with chicken, and good luck with that, right? It could be with eggs. Good luck with the eggs. But we're going to talk about eggs here in a minute. I have some very good news about eggs. So once the people stop buying beef because it's too expensive, remember demand destruction? Demand destruction is that something is still available, but people stop buying it because it's too expensive. They're going to shift to something else, and that's going to enable the price of that other thing that is now in more demand to go up as well. Cattle producers will not make meaningful progress in rebuilding the U.S. herd until 2025 at the earliest. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is very simple. I mean, this is not a problem for those of us that are in the know. This is not a problem if you are in the know. Start stocking up on it, right? Start bringing maybe an extra pound or 2 pounds of beef whenever you go shopping, and either pressure can it, save it up to pressure can. If you really want to save money pressure canning, then go to the frozen section where they have like discounted beef that's been flash frozen because it was getting near its best buy date. And go ahead and grab that. That beef, if you pressure can it, man, it's just as good as any other beef, tell you the truth. That's how I did a lot of my pressure canning when I was pressure canning beef. I used to go to the commissary and they have a little cooler with all of their discounted beef, and I used to go ahead and just pick whatever I wanted and I pressure can it and put it away. It's a good way to save money. Let me go ahead and express to you that I find no joy that people are being laid off from companies like Beyond Meat because their sales are down. I find no joy in anyone losing their jobs. However, this is how it should be. It should be the free market talking. And the free market is saying loud and clear that they don't want fake meat or meat substitute. Now, if you're one of those people that likes to eat meat substitute, by all means, I'm sure they're still going to be available. And you can probably make your own. I've seen videos where you can make your own, like beef patties that there's no beef in it. However, the market is saying we don't want fake meat. We want the real thing. Fake meat fail. Sales collapse at Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods as 20% of their staff are laid off. After years of hype, they say, the tide is turning against the first generation of plant-based protein makers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that do consume this type of stuff, please read the label and please research and see what the word ultra processed means. And if you think that you're eating these foods for your health and or for the health of the planet, then please inform yourself, because I'm here to tell you that neither of those is true. I'll take a minute to explain ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods are foods that are taken from their natural form, and they are manipulated in such a way that the nutrition that was originally there is no longer there, because they just pretty much Frankenstein it. Right? So ultra processed foods are actually not really as good for you as the foods in their original form. Now, the ingredients that these Beyond Meat burgers or fake meat burgers may have, it may sound good, like peas, like whatever vegetables they may put in there. It may sound good if you were consuming it as the vegetable itself. But once they get done ultra processing that food and they put it into that little shaper that shapes like a burger, whatever it is, it's really not as nutritious for you or as good for you than eating regular meat. Now let's take it to the climate change part of it. If you think that you're eating ultra processed fake burgers, all right, or fake meat burgers because it's going to help to save the planet because it's plant-based, it's really not. You have to understand what the input costs are, not monetarily, but to the environment itself. For example, let's say that you have a plant in Nevada, right, and you need peas in order to make these burgers. And let's say, I'm just going to make up some different things. Let's say you need corn. Let's say you need squash, whatever it is. All of these things are coming from different places. They're coming from different places, sometimes from different countries. You're using fuel to transport all of these things across the world, across the country, to get it to this facility that is then going to use machinery that uses fuel or energy in order to process it into the end form. All right? With a cow, you have a cow in a ranch that's eating the grass, that's eating the feed. And a lot of times these ranches actually grow their own corn. They grow their own feed to feed the cows and let them pasture out in the field. They're there, right? But anyways, I'm not trying to convince you either way. It's just do your own research, because a lot of what you're told on its face value may sound great, but when you really dig into it, you'll find out that these things are neither good for you, in my opinion, I'll say, because I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, but they're neither good for the environment as well. And they finish off here by saying sales have collapsed. Beyond Meat's sales fell over 22% in the third quarter of last year. Beyond Meat stock is also down around 67% 1 year ago. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the people that own these companies, they should be just fine with that, because what they're doing is they're doing something to save the world, right? To save the planet. So it's going to be very interesting to see how long it will take with these numbers, if they continue, how long it will take for these companies to close their doors. I am definitely going to leave the link to all of these articles on a pinned comment, and please come and take a look at this one, all right, because I cannot read this entire article. This is actually a study, ladies and gentlemen, and it is great news, great news. And what they're talking about here is chicken eggs, especially the egg yolk in chickens. Chicken egg yolk antibodies block the binding of multiple, this thing here that I really can't talk about, spike protein variants to humans. All right, so what they're saying here is that egg yolk, the yolk in eggs, is actually really good for you at blocking these antibodies that are being produced by this thing that that's going around, right? And then here on the abstract it says this thing that is going around is still spreading around the world, and there is an urgent need to effectively prevent and control this thing. This study evaluated the potential efficacy of egg yolk antibodies as a neutralizing agent against this thing that's going around. So ladies and gentlemen, if you eat eggs, continue to eat eggs. Eggs are great for you. I love eggs. Sometimes I'm going to get conspiratorial here, right? Sometimes it makes me wonder, after reading articles like this, if maybe the guys that sit up at Capitol Hill or in their ivory towers know about this, know that this is good. And then I wonder, man, why is it that so many egg farms or egg factories are burning down? But that's just me thinking out loud, ladies and gentlemen. Not saying that that's what's happening. However, this here says that eggs are good for you, and I'm sure that they are good for you for more reasons than what I just said here. And again, I will be leaving the link to all of these articles on a pinned comment so you can go revisit them. I have another video for you later on today, so hope to see you then. Other than that, have a great start of your week. So happy Monday to all of you. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.